some people here. Not many, but, okay. So we're on attorney legal matters, and the discussion now is dealing with the contract for the July 1 through June 30th SRO contract.
Yeah, I think the information I got, I can resolve whatever issues I have with Mr. Batzel probably tomorrow. I was informed of some additional information that I probably need to obtain from the county that I'll be making a phone call on tomorrow. I know our next meeting is July 31st. I know the way the county works, they want everyone to sign a contract before they sign a contract, so maybe necessary to call a special meeting only to sign this contract one morning, you know?
Fine with me.
To do that.
Let's do it.
Just for timeliness, and but I will catch back up with Mr. Dodd and call a special meeting on the time, you know, on the timeliness of this, if they're going to require us to sign it prior to them signing.
As far as the county, yeah.
As far as the BOCC.
We can certainly find out if they're good with us signing it at the July 31st meeting, then,
Yes.
couldn't we? Okay.
I will call and
I mean, do we need to, so you're gonna move forward with the contract with all the things that were discussed, and then we will vote to approve it tentatively. Right now would be at that July 31 meeting, unless you would need us to do it before they.
correct.
Okay.
Right. I think the first payment on that contract is due on July 31st, so we couldn't make a payment without a contract.
Right, so we'll probably move it up just so that we can sign it and get it to the BOCC so that they can sign it prior to.
I don't have a problem.
Here's what I'll do. I will call Miss Lynn tomorrow. I will find out when their next meeting is and when they need this contract before us to have it signed so that they can vote on it prior to July 31st.
Okay.
And
So we're looking at 12 payments.
right.
If we can't make the first payment at the end of July, we wouldn't be able to make that payment without a contract,
Right.
because we have nothing to base that payment on.
Right. And we can do that so that it doesn't drag on.
And you're also referring to for accounting practices for auditing, that is
Right.
why. I'm saying that just for any public to understand.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
Very good.
And I don't have anything further.
You don't have anything further? Okay. Okay, we're at item number 10, approve the minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, second by Ms. Bryant to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Ms. Bryant, you did vote on that, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, next up is, we're at the end of the business, so we will reopen for citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments? I don't see any, so we'll go to board member committee reports. Mr. Muller. Okay. Ms. Bryant.
I'm among the living. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Ms. Kelly.
Nothing, I'm good to go. My son-in-law had his board out today, and he's hopefully cancer-free, but still hoping for 6 weeks
That's
of
great.
radiation. So the doctor's pretty sure he got it all on July 3rd.
Oh, that's super.
That is great. Yes.
At Mama, right?
At Holland, yeah.
Mhm. Excellent.
He's bald as a billiard ball, but he's smiling.
Who
All
cares?
right.
Who cares?
I think he was handsome.
Mr. Kennedy?
Just want to thank the sheriff again for coming, because it always makes a difference. It's positive for our relationship building, so thank you to that. I want to congratulate the students, teachers, and leaders of Lecanto High School's IB program. Mr. Bittner shared that the 2018 IB class had a 72% of the students earning an IB diploma. It is the best passing rate ever at the IB program at Lecanto High School. 78% of all of the IB tests taken were passed. So congratulations to all the students, staff, and families. Just well done, and just again, the successful programs. We had 2 ladies here at the beginning that just are reflective of those excellent programs that we're a part of. And then the only other thing is I'm going to be again submitting to the Florida School Board Association's legislative platform regarding the student portfolios again, and hopes that Last year, the Florida School Board Association did accept that and place that on their legislative platform, so I'm hoping that they'll do that again. So we're going to keep on trying. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, the first item that I would like to make note of is the Value Adjustment Board organizational meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August the 8th at 9 a.m. I am the assigned person, and Mrs. Powers is the backup, and I will not be here on Wednesday, August the 8th because of a Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Safety Commission meeting. So Mrs. Powers, we need to make sure Mrs. Powers knows that, see if she can be there, and Superintendent, you can make sure we.
Lisa, will you make it?
She is the backup for me, and just so the board knows, the law requires there be a school board member present to have the meeting, and there has to be a school board member there. So what I wanted to know is this: if Mrs. Powers for some reason cannot make it, I need to have a second backup person that we can count on being there on Wednesday, August 8th at 9 a.m. So would any of you, I don't know if any of you have been on that Value Adjustment Board, Ms. Bryant, you have before?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to serve as the third person in case?
Yeah.
Because they, like we said, they literally
What time
can't.
does it start?
Right. It's 9 a.m. at the county courthouse, the commissioner's office, the commissioner's room, or the commission.
Chambers.
The chambers, yes, thank you. So that's Wednesday, August
They have
8th
their meeting.
at 9 a.m.
They
Now,
have their meeting,
that's the meeting of the Value Adjustment Board.
but is that where? the
Yes.
commission-
Yes, that's when the county commission
Yes.
meets. Now, the law requires one county commissioner, one school board member, and one citizen member to be present in order to have the meeting. So there are two county commissioners on the Value Adjustment Board. There's one school board member and there's two citizen representatives, one of whom the school board gets to appoint. As long as there's a county commissioner, school board member, and a citizen member, they can have the meeting. Now, this is the organizational meeting, and a school board member cannot be elected as the chair of the committee. It has to be by law, it has to be a county commissioner. I am the vice chair, and whether they want to keep me as the vice chair, it does not matter to me. I'm just saying that, and Ms. Powers will let her know if they want to re-elect me as the vice chair. I'm fine with that, but I just, so thank you for that. The next item that I will tell you is I'm going to be leaving here to go down to Broward County for the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Commission. Actually met today, tomorrow, and Thursday. It's a 3-day meeting. And obviously, I needed to be here at this meeting. There's obviously a lot of security matters we have to deal with here locally that we took care of. It is live on the Florida Channel, and it's streaming online. So I was listening to that all morning, and it was interesting because there was some other discussion I had with the Department of Education with their fire inspectors, and we have that covered here with the school board when we do fire inspections that dealt with barricaded devices for classroom doors. This is a big issue, and it's something that we need to talk about. And I hope Ms. Cernich is listening, because this is going to be right up her area right now, is on these barricading devices. I think we need to look at those as an option. And the Department of Education now has not approved any of these devices yet. Some of them, they have said, definitely do not meet the fire code. Now, it's interesting because in the testimony this morning from the State Fire Marshal's office, the fire inspectors that gave their comments, which are the same level of training, I guess, as our fire inspectors. They have to go through the same course to be a certified fire inspector. They have said that if the device is only used during an incident, the question was asked if it was not a permanently affixed device, could there be temporary devices used if there were to be an incident? And what they're saying is that the permanently fixed devices are in violation of fire code. So the look is at other devices that may not be temporarily fixed. However, the Department of Education is supposed to be looking at devices that may be approved. This is part of how we harden the infrastructure. But it's still, you know, we still have to prevent safe egress, you know, in and out of a room. And so I want us to stay on top. I want us to be, that to be an important issue that we look at, because I've had parents ask me, what are we doing to ensure that students are safe in a classroom?
I saw one
And
documentary that just, you know, those little rubber wedges that we put, I know we don't like them in schools, but they just stuck that on the inside of the door, and they couldn't open it from the outside.
right, and so there are a lot of devices out there, and it's interesting to think of how in an incident that we may not be allowed to have a device because it doesn't meet a fire code in an active shooter incident. The issue is this: we've got to look. We just can't keep waiting. We got to keep pursuing and looking at what our options are to protect students. And you know, you know, that's important to me. And so I just want to make sure that we are.
Chairman Dodd, on that, because I agree with everything you said, and I know risk management's looking at some of those, but the other thing I was thinking from a policy perspective, and I'm thinking of policy meaning also like student code of conduct books and so forth, to also, if we, you know, as we get to the point of implementing some of those things, maybe we also need to look at adding some of discipline of, you know, if, for example, if they are fixed devices that, or they are devices that students could get, we need to put heavy,
Sure. I agree.
you know, disciplinary actions for students that do it. You know, you know, authorized or appropriate use of them. Things that we can do to also further protect that they are not used inappropriately and that they are only used in the functions that they're designed for the times they are.
Yes.
If I could share that we are looking at a device, we have it, we've tested it, I've run it by the fire marshal, so we are very much in agreement with what you're saying, and if it's our priority this summer, it's basically what we're doing.
Okay. Because DOE and Ms. Stewart, Sam, she was not able to be there at that meeting day. I'm not there either, but I was listening to it on the television, like I said. But you know, the state fire marshal's office was who was there, and obviously the Department of Education has their own fire inspection process that we adhere to. And another one of the points is why is that? And you know, so they're even looking at recommendations that may move away from a DOE type inspection process. I don't know. It was discussed. All I'm saying is that is something that was formally discussed. How that shakes out, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is part of the reason why I talk about, even with the drills, that we bring fire and EMS involved in those drills, that we also may want to look at that in our inspection process, to have a visit by the fire department at each one of the schools during the year. It could be.
And I think the only thing that, and I understand the reasonings, but I think we also want to make sure that we monitor and are careful that in this idea that, you know, saying, for example, DOE, and it's not you, it's just what I get concerned with is saying, well, we're going to give up more of our authority, our local authority as board members, our local governing, and what I'm referring to is now having an agency, a different agency of a different governing telling us what to do. We don't have it when it comes to building codes for a reason.
Yeah.
We're exempt because we are a sovereign governing agency. So it's a balance between safety and also making sure that there's a reason why we are sovereign governments.
And Sherry's been going through the schools with SROs and it's interesting that, and they're learning, but they don't understand school business.
Yeah.
Because there's certain fences to keep kids in, there's certain fences to keep people out, and Sherry's gone through that with all of them. I mean, it's been a good walkthrough with several schools, and they'll have them all completed very shortly, but it's also some of them that they don't get school business. So It's kind of a balance
Right.
for everybody to get them through this.
In our FSBDA trainings, we heard that a lot. There was a way that hardened, and then there was like, how are we operating?
Well, like Mr. Dodd said, the fire marshal says, or people say use this device, but the fire marshal says it's against our code. So it's everybody come together and figure out, but I think one that, risk management's been looking at, the fire marshal has given us a thumbs up on.
And ironically, I think the reason we got to that point with having our own inspectors was they were starting to charge user fees that the fire departments were in the school districts. And that obviously was not a smart move when one government agency started charging another government agency. I think that's what I heard out of the meeting this morning. That was one of the things that led to Department of Education forming their own fire inspection code process and having fire inspectors in our schools. So, you know, I just, you know, it's interesting because when I went to the meeting, the safety meeting, the training meeting we had at Citrus High School, last month, I think a lot of you were there. You know, I spoke to the gentleman from DOE who was the fire, who gave the presentation there at Citrus High, and he was filling. I think he wasn't here last year. He was filling in for the person that had done it in the past.
Yes.
But he and I got into a discussion about those things because he like just discounted them. You can't have that. You can't have that. You can't have that. You know, because it's not fire. You know, and there's certain things. There's got to be one move to be able to exit a door, and all those things can't have other moves to it. So, you know, it's just interesting that I think that is something that we have to come to grips with. Is that if we have an active shooter, we want to have everything possible there to protect students, and we don't want to get hung up on things like that. I mean, you know, those are things that we've got to talk
But
about.
we also want to balance to say, listen, if we have a fire, we also don't want.
Exactly.
I mean, it is. We're being tasked with some serious stuff.
And you know, and the fire services. I mean, I think they haven't lost a child in a school fire since I think they said
That was
1958.
an
So
excellent statistic.
they've made, you know, the way they've been doing things has definitely, you know, saved lives. I mean, you know,
But egress, as we know, has been a paramount part of
Right,
that, and now
exactly.
we're having reverse
Exactly.
conversations about.
Exactly, and you know, there was discussion even on the fire alarm when it goes off, the intercom system doesn't override the fire alarm. So a lot of people can't hear if you're trying to you know, call people back in on a shelter in place in the middle of the fire alarm.
Can't
Some-
do a thing with it.
You know, but there are systems that are out there that have an override, that intercom can override a fire alarm. So those are things that we've got to continue to look at and talk about, and but I just thought I'd bring those up to the attention of the
If you're
board.
going down there, Doug, the Washington Post printed, I think an FBI investigation into profiling the active shooter.
Uh-huh.
It was very enlightening. Only 22% of these active shooters really have
Yes.
a mental health problem. And I
read
think you were going to see
Yes.
if they had access to that full report.
Yes.
Because that would help our psychologists and our social workers and our teachers to know what to look for. Because I think one thing I gleaned just from the newspaper article about it was most of these things are planned at least a week in advance, and somebody knows.
Yes.
It might be a parent, it might be a friend, but it's not always a mental health issue. And so that full report would
Right.
be really great for our.
Yes.
our
Thank
guests
you.
to have someone-
Ms. Church, in all the number of things that you're taking, we've talked about, and it may be something to get with Ms. Androsky about, we've talked about, you know, we have on there the reporting, what's the reporting one that,
The list is
the sheriff's one that when they inform about incidences.
Assessor?
No, the tip line.
Oh,
No, the tip line for
the
Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, Crime Stoppers.
But any of those types of tools that we, you know, that may be a good time to just readdress, because she's going to be refreshing apps and, you know, kind of standardized apps that they are. And maybe those are even conversations we can have with students to, again, say, you know, these are also
Yes.
other things, not just academically, but also, you know, safety-wise. These are some of the devices and things that you have, because like you're saying, the kids, I am constantly shocked, if not anything, as to what they are sharing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then the last thing that I had just dealt with our meeting on the 31st. And so, Ms. Himmel, how do you want to proceed? We know we have a 5:30 public hearing. We'll just
It
kind
all
of wait
depends
and
on if we
see.
have items brought to us.
Right.
We'll see what happens with the SRO contract, and then if we get to do that special meeting, we may or may not have anything Usually by the 31st, we have HR
Right.
positions that we need to approve. So they'll probably 99% sure of having a special board meeting.
Right. So with that in mind too, so even if we had a workshop item, we're
Right.
maybe talking, what, 3 o'clock at the earliest? or At the
maybe
earliest?
4 o'clock. So
maybe
we'll
4.
keep you posted on that.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, that's all I
I
had.
can't imagine we have a lot
Yeah,
No.
at that time.
right, usually that's,
4 o'clock, 4:30.
Yeah,
Right.
we usually don't
Okay.
have a lot. And if it's just an HR issue, maybe
Right.
at 5 o'clock.
yeah, okay, all right, that's all I had. So,
I'm good.
Mr. God, I just want to touch base, you had mentioned about the door locks and stuff. Ms. Cernage is arranging to take, starting this week, Thursday, we have about 10 or 11 administrators going to the ALICE training.
Oh,
And that's a
good,
big
yes.
focus point in that
Yes.
training, if you went through the videos.
Right.
was impromptu ways teaching teachers how to block out access to the door. And there were a lot of different things that were used in that training that teachers would have readily available that could be used on.
Yes.
And we have a variety of different types of doors in schools. We have a variety of different types of locks. We have a variety of different types of hinges on the top, so that one solution is not going to fit everything. But that is a topic that is part of the focus area on that ALICE training as well.
yes, good. Okay, thank you for that information. All right, is there any other business? All right, if not, we are adjourned.